And the complex one, as we explained to you when you were here, the thing that we want you to be able to do with all of our offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, tight ends, quarterbacks, running backs, is to be able to accomplish 4 series of complex with around a 2.5 minute rest at maximum, with 40% of your body weight for the offensive and defensive linemen and 45% of your body weight with all of the other group, being the running backs, quarterbacks, linebackers, tight ends. The wide receivers and defensive backs will need to do 50% of their body weight, and they will do 5 series of the complex with the same rest period of 2 minutes and 30 seconds in between. This exercise right here, the complex one, is a cornerstone of everything we do. Tells us everything that we want to know about a player as far as his flexibility, his abilities to be able to bend and break, and his abilities to be able to maintain body position and while performing an exercise. Anything that will deviate out of the abnormal with this exercise will let us know and allow us to know something about that athlete. We need to amend this program. The technique that we use on here has got to be perfected. It's got to be the one that exercise that where everything that you do has got to be in the exact form, because there is a combination of 6 exercises that are done for 6 repetitions. Now the weight that we'll have on here and start with today, that you started with the other day, will be 66 pounds. Then as you get back home, you can read your booklet, see exactly what that workout that day calls for, and be able to put that on. Today what we're going to do is Coach Colburn and I are going to go through the exercise right here. We're going to demonstrate the exercise to you and try to be able to point out all of the coaching points that you need to be able to adhere to and think about when you're at home, being able to do this exercise on your own. So this is the means just to be able to put it back in at the end of the day, the tape, to see if exactly what I did was right or wrong at the end of the day, and be able to see the correct way in which it's done. So the old saying goes, picture's worth 1,000 words, and that's what we're hoping to give you here today. Each exercise is done for 6 repetitions. There are 6 exercises in here. To outline them for you again, the first thing is it's a clean grip, then it's the upright row, high pull. Second thing is a muscle snatch. Third thing is the good morning. The fourth and the fifth are combinational exercises where you're putting together a back squat and a push press. And the last, number 6 exercise, is a bent over row. Okay? I ask Coach Colburn to come up. And what we'll have you to do is to, first of all, won't we turn the other way, Rock, so they can see you, is when you address the bar, is to make sure, guys, and I told you this when you were in here earlier in the week, is that whenever you grab the bar, you need to think of yourself into some situation, and I liken it to being able to ride a bull, to being able to concentrate exactly on what's going on at hand, because if you don't, then that's where errors occur. And when certain thing is picking the bar up and setting it down. So when you start to come in and take the bar off the rack, you got to make sure that you're in a good position. A lot of times injuries occur from being very sloppy on either picking the weight up or setting it down. So what we want to do is come in and take the bar right off the rack. First exercise that we're talking about here is going to be the upright row or the high pull. Okay, the bar is down to the knees. It's in a good football stance. The weight is on the heel right in here. It's not on the toes. His eyes are looking straight forward. He's going to stand up first and then upright roll the bar. Okay? You'll notice on here as he goes through the exercise, coaching point on this is making sure that the elbow here is higher than the bar. The elbow drops below the bar, then he's working a very small muscle group in his bicep. Comes up on his toe and he's elongating and extending as far as he possibly can go. Okay. Put it on your back. Now the muscle snatch is the next one. It's the same position, same everything. The only thing now, he's going to stand up faster, and he's not ever going to move his feet, because we want to teach at this position right here how to be able to elongate the hips in a faster motion and take the bar all the way overhead. You'll notice he caught the bar just about right here to his eye height, or about up in here to the hair height, and that's where you should be before you have to press the weight out. Again, watch. He extends the hips, catches the bar is real close to the body. It never wants to leave off of the shirt. It wants to be right against the body. It's right there, and it comes right over and he rolls it up. Notice he's right on the ground at all times and he never leaves. And then he sets the bar back behind his back for the third portion of it. third portion is the good morning. Okay, on this particular portion, what he's doing is putting all the weight on his heel. He's picking actually his toes up off the ground. He has a flexion in his knee right here. From that flexion, what he's going to do is tighten his back up, and he's going to be able to take his hips and stick them back laterally from where he was. Now you notice he doesn't bend the knee joint any more than what it already is, but the axis of rotation is going to be in the hip where he's pushing it back. This builds up the hamstrings, the glutes, and the low back. The coaching point on this is to never let the bar get in front of the toes, leaning way out here. When you do that, you see he automatically has to go on his toe, and he'll lose his balance, and you put all of the weight on the joints of the body. The weight stays back on his heels, his hip progresses backwards, and this is exactly how the exercise is done. It's a very slow motion. You notice his hips never drop in height from where they were initially. The next exercise, again, as I told you earlier, it's going to be a combinational exercise where you put together the back squat and the push press. Okay? With this on the back squat, we want to make sure that our feet are turned to the outside. They're going to be turned out on a 45-degree angle. When he begins to squat down, the knee is going to follow the correct path of the toe. Also, this part of his body, from his knee down to his heel, never changes angle. We want it to be perfectly straight up and down at a 90-degree angle on the floor. So the actual rotation of everything is going to be at the knee. He'll be pushing through the heel, which is going to facilitate the muscles in his glutes, hamstrings, and legs back in here. His chest is going to be up. He's squatting down deep as he can. Again, we're going to talk about rhythm here. It's down slow and then up fast. And you see he comes right off his back with a push press. So the two exercises are combined to one. In that position right here, he sets the bar back now. He comes back to a bent over row. We're going to bend the knees. The bar is below the knees significantly. The weight is on the heel. He's able to wiggle his toes here. He's in a good football stance with his back up. He's holding an isometric contraction there, and now he's going to pull the weight up to his chest without any movement at all from the shoulders. So it's all right in here. He's holding an isometric contraction, curves at the hips, and he's working up here in his back. Once he's finished the exercise, he'll stand up. He walks back into the platform and sets it down. Okay, now there are a couple of points that I need to point out to you. If you can do these exercises right here and do them with good form and technique, then you can take this and apply it to any and everything that we do. Because this right here will signify ability for you to be able to have strength and overall ability of the body, overall musculature of the body, that you can be able to demonstrate it in here on any of the lifts that we're able to ask you to do. Without that, if you have a problem maintaining any of the position, if you have a problem with not being able to do all of the repetitions, or a problem not being able to get down deep enough on any of the particular squatting motions, or your hips not being able to move on any of the good mornings or anything, then you have a problem, and that's something that we need to be able to address. Our recommendation to you is to do this. If there's a problem and it persists, then eliminate that, and when you get here, then we'll need to be able to look at it, examine it, see what you're doing right and wrong, find out if it's a medical problem or if it's just simply an impingement on something that you have with you. This is the exercise that we're going to do, and then you'll be asked to do just about every day you come in here and lift. Okay, now what we're going to do is to let Coach Colburn go through without me sitting in here and injecting anything, and I'll let him perform a series so that you can see exactly how it should look. Series of 6 exercises done for 6 reps. Go ahead, Coach. That's it, bud. That's a good job. Notice how you set it up, put it back down. Okay. Okay, this is the back squat, front squat, and also the one-legged squat. Okay, now with the back squat, we've already talked about it a little bit in length right in here. All of the technicalities as far as how to do it is concerned. There's one thing that you need to see, and we'll give you a backside view of Coach Colburn here when he takes it off the rack. Whenever you have a bar on the rack right in here, you want to address it by standing up underneath it, getting an even grip as far as knowing where your head is going to be in position to the bar, standing right up under it, get both feet up underneath the bar, stand up with it and take it off the rack. If you stick your head up under there and try to lift it with your back, expect that type of results from it. You'll probably end up with some form of injury. Same thing that comes about now with the complex comes about with this right here as far as the technique. Toes are out, the heels are down, chest is up, back is flat. We're going to go down slow, come up fast, and that's where we're going to be able to get the rhythm part of the exercise, okay? Staying on the heels, chest and eyes are up all the time, down slow, and comes up. You want to take a deep breath at the very top, blow it out on the way up. Inhale into your lungs rather than your stomach. Inhale, suck it in, down, and blow it out. Right there. That's a back squat. Okay? Set it down, Coach, if you would. Walk up into it. Set it down the same way that you picked it up. Now we're going to go into the front squat portion. You might want to turn around to this side. Two different ways of which you'll be able to show you this exercise. The first way is the correct way of putting your hand grip up under here to where your elbow is always in front of the bar and it's taken out and it's on the break of your shoulder. If you'll feel the muscle in the front deltoid right there, that's where the bar has got to sit. It's got to sit into the shoulder and into the actual throat portion of you right in here. So what he does, if he has a problem, if he does have a flexibility problem, which a lot of people have when their wrist and their forearms, is to be able to reach around and hug the bar, keeping both, again, the elbows high. Your bar is set in the same place it is when you do it on a regular grip, and you're going to maintain the high elbows here as if you would maintain the high elbows doing it the other way. So irregardless of the technique that you use, the body positions in this way. Because of the front squat, we're going to take out about 30% of the use of the back, put it to more of the front thighs themselves. The technique is exactly the same. The toes are up, the toes are turned out. The weight is going to be on the heel and the back is rigid. You're going to come down slow and then stand up fast. Down slow, stand up fast. The same thing now, you want to inhale to the lungs rather than to the stomach. Push through the heels and come up. Lower leg is staying straight up and down in 90 degrees. Walk it back up in here and make sure that you set it down. Okay? That is the front squat. Now the one leg squat, stand right up here, Coach, on the platform. What we want you to do is this, is that we need to find some area that's very solid for you when you're at home. As I explained to you when you were down here, the thing that we have right here is ideal. If you do not have an ideal situation, try to be able to formulate one as close as you can. A bench with a training partner, a bench with a power rack, a bench next to a door frame, anything like that can be able to solidify you. Here, Coach is using a lifting rack, lifting platform that we have here. So what he will do is put his right foot down, his left foot will be off. He's going to hold both hands, you'll see, just about the same height as he does have his belt right in here on his shorts. From this position right here, what he wants to do is kick this left foot forward as he starts to squat down, taking his hamstring and putting down to his knee. And again, same rhythm we talked about in the other exercises. Down slow and try to stay up, coming up as quick as possible. Also note, and it's maybe hard for you to see here, but he's going to push down with the heel of the foot with the toe cocked up. So he's teaching himself to be able to push through the heel. Also notice that his leg right in here is not jutting forward. The lower part of the leg is straight up and down, and then after he performs usually 6 repetitions, he's going back to the other one. Okay, back to the other leg and goes from there. That is the one leg squat. That is the front squat, and that is the back squat. Okay, the step-ups and the V-press. The step-ups, the first exercise that we'll do, it can be done in the same power rack or same rack that we did with the back squat or the front squat. Again, find you something that we have a piece of equipment that's designed especially for it. If you don't have one, find something, again, that's very solid for you to be able to stand up on, that's going to be able to handle your body weight plus, 100 or 200 pounds extra on top of you. This exercise is going to be just like the one-leg squat. It's going to be able to train your legs individually so that there will not be an imbalance as far as the strength on either one of them, and try to bring them both in line. What we want to do is assume a position here just like if Coach would, taking the bar off just as if you would on a squat, when you want to put a foot up into the middle of the box, okay? Make sure that when you put your foot up here that you do not leave any room for error, that if your heel is not partially off of it or something like that, but that your foot is firmly planted right up in the middle of it where you have no possibility of being able to slip off because of poor foot placement off of this. Now, with the foot straight up underneath here, what you're going to do is get the same little push down on the floor as you do when you're running. The knee bends about 1/8 of a degree or 1/8 of a bend. You're going to get a hard heel-toe push with the down leg, and then you're going to carry it over with the push down here with the up leg. Okay, go ahead now, Coach. And once he comes up, he flips it up right in here, and just like walking up the steps in here, this knee is going to come up. Once this knee comes up right in here, we would like to see you be able to gain your balance right in here for momentarily, just to be able to stabilize a little bit, and then be able to put your foot down. But that's why the box has got to be solid. If you get up, and you will get off from time to time on your equilibrium and on your balance in here, and if that does, then you've got to be able to place a foot down there and regain your balance with the box. Okay, again, let him go do a few. Just pushing off, pulling up, pushing off, pulling up. Notice the balance upon the right leg. Then he'll switch it over, switch his feet. Switches on top. You don't need to take this foot off of there. You always make sure it stays up on top of the box and does not, you gain nothing if you take it down, put it on the floor, and then step it back up there again. It really does nothing for you. We're just looking at the positive motion right in here, pushing up, chest up, pushing off there, and this is when he put his foot up here to be able to gain his balance. Okay? If you can see that, then he's back up here. Okay? Anytime you lose your balance, you got it there to be able to garner you from being able to fall off. Okay? Step ups. Okay? Set it back down. Same way that you did over there with the back squat, and that is the one-leg step up. With the V-press, as we talked to you about when you were here earlier in the week, is what we want to do is use 10% of your maximum bench press. So what we want to do is be able to use a set of dumbbells, stand up erect. We're going to bring them up to where both elbows are in here tight. The hands are together, very similar to saying a prayer right in here with your hands. There are two different ways that you're going to do this. It doesn't make any difference which way you start. You want to make sure that you come back the opposite way on the last 3 reps. This is going to be done for 6 reps all the time. First 3 reps are going to be done pushing either up, turning your hands out, and bringing them back together. It always comes back to the same place, right here. Turns them out and back together. Now, once they've come that way, we're going to unwind it, is all we're doing. Out, up, together, and then back down. Notice closely here on Coach's elbows, they bring them back together right in here, then he lets them down. Don't let the elbows flare. We want to be in here real tight, just like your coaches do when they want you to be able to play on the field. There is the set of 6. Take them, set them down, and that will be the V-press. Okay, the first exercise that we're going to do is going to be our hyperextension. Okay, what you need to be able to find you is a hyperextension bench. If you cannot use one of these benches or don't have one available to you, you can use any kind of form of table that will come out and offers you a straight level edge. And then you can have someone either assist by holding down your heels behind you, or have a position of where you can be able to put some form of rope over and be able to isolate it in here. Most people have one of these, as they're a very good builder up of the hamstrings, the butt, and the back. Okay? Position yourself in here. The most important thing that you've got to understand is that you want to reach up in here and grab the hip bone. That's a big bone that juts out just above, right in here of the abdominal area. And you've got to make sure that the hip bone is further ahead than the side and the edge of the hyperextension bench. The reason for that is to make sure that it allows you to be able to have a normal bend in the hips. If you see if he's misplaced in here, what a stress that puts on the spine back in here. So you want the axis of rotation to be in the hips and not going to be actually into the spine itself. The heels are hooked in there. The next point of the exercise is this. You want to get this rhythm. You want to get 2 seconds up and 4 seconds down. So what you want to do is, as he raises himself up, it's going to take approximately 1 and then 2 seconds. His head will pick up, look at the far wall, and down for 4 seconds. Now, the reason we do this is when you have one joint of the body working, you want to work it very controlled and very delicate as far as being able, no explosive movement or anything like that, because we only have one joint working. You've got it in a precarious situation right here, and you don't want to be able to blast it with the longer, stronger muscle groups and be able to hurt yourself. So 2 seconds up, pause it, 4 seconds down. 2 seconds up, and 4 seconds down. If you want to be able to accentuate, make this a little bit harder, then sticking your hands out in front of you, just like your Superman and flying, puts a little bit extra weight out in front of you. Or you can put your hands behind your head, which again will put a little bit extra weight out toward the end of the limb right in here, which makes it a little bit harder to lift in on the back. Hyperextension. Okay? Now the next exercise that we'll do will be an abdominal exercise. So one is where you're going to sit down on your fanny, okay, and then you're going to actually have to balance on your fanny. Now it's a V-up, okay? We liken it to being able to have like a suitcase closing up and lowering back down. What we're trying to ask you to do is this, is as you sit up, to bring your feet up simultaneously and allow your hands just to slide across the top of your legs. Never at any time during the exercise do you want your hands to be able to leave the tops of the thighs, the shins, and knees and so forth in that area on down toward your sock. So as you sit up, you're going to pull up and touch your sock. Sit up, touch your socks. Preferably the tips of the toes if you can get there. Now it's going to take a few repetitions a lot of times to be able to get the balance on here. If Rocky gets off in a skew sometimes like that, he may end up having to go back down. He keeps that chin back in here, and sometimes he may not be able to make it all the way up. But this is what we're looking for, a full movement, all the way up and all the way back down, a V-up. Okay, it works the upper and the lower abdominal area. Okay, the next exercise, stay down. Next exercise is going to be the pepper. All right, and the pepper, what we want to do with this exercise is be able to have the athlete to balance actually on his fanny, picking his feet up off the ground. And we're going to take a small two-hand chest pass and try to hit him right in top of the head, right over here with the ball. The ball should strike above here, which will cause and necessitate him having to catch it above his head, which fires the abdominal muscles right in here, and he has to throw it back without grounding feet. So all of the things will come basically and predominantly from the abdominal muscles. You don't want to throw it so hard that you knock him down. You don't want to throw it so easy that he gets nothing from the exercise and he can accept the ball without any problem of being able to stop the rate of movement toward him with his abdominals. So what we want to be able to do is get a pepper situation, very similar to what you get in baseball. And I'm just going to throw it right over top of his head, and he throws it right back at me. As soon as it's in his hand, it's back out. And we count our repetitions, and every time it hits his hand to my hand, that's 1. Trying to hit him right over the top. And that's our pepper right in there. Okay? Next exercise is the same thing. That he's going to assume the same position again. His feet off the ground and his back not touching the ground. He's balancing on his fanny up in here. Then he's holding the medicine ball just like you would with a two-hand chest pass in basketball. He's down in here in his hips. He's going to turn the eyes with the ball, turn it over, and touch the ground. It's a slow, methodical movement, and he's touching the ground each time that he comes over. He's not bouncing the ball and over to each side, because now all he's doing is getting a small turn. We want to make sure that we turn as much as we can. You'll notice his shoulders in here. His abdominals have to be able to contract to hold him in that position. And now he's going to have to do a turning movement right in here with it, which works in here the oblique muscles in the abdominal area. So this is what we're trying to be able to hit with him on our two exercises that we just showed you with the medicine ball. The medicine ball that you should use, this is a 4-kilo ball. If you do not have a 4-kilo or a heavy-weighted basketball, we suggest that you use a plate, a weight plate, to be able to do your side-to-side. Then if you don't have anything to be able to use to throw at someone, try to get a basketball and try to put a little bit more speed on the basketball and throw overhead for the peppers. This exercise is the hanging knee-ups. Okay, if you'll notice at Rocky, what we'll have is a chin-up bar. Have something that's taller than the height that you are with an outstretched arm. Makes no difference really whether you get an inside grip like he has or an outside grip. What we ask you to do, whatever grip that you do get, is that once that you hang down, is to allow your head to be able to look down. Once your head is looking down, that aligns your spine up right in here and takes out the shoulder joint. A lot of guys will pull their head back and kind of almost do a chin-up like this, which tires and weakens their shoulders. What we're trying to be able to do is isolate in here. We want to pull the knees up, hence the name of the exercise, and pull them up to let them hit up in here on our chest. And you're going to get some swing up in here. You're not trying to be a gymnast and not get any. You're just wanting to get high elevation out of this right in here, but you get a little roll and tuck. The eyes are down, the spine, the back is all trying to line up right in here behind you, and you're getting movement by pulling up here, the same exact action that you get when you're out there on the field running. All right, all of the rest of the exercises that are in your book are things that you've done 1,000 times, such as a bench press and an incline press and things like that. All of the other things you've been talked about, shown, demonstrated, how to be able to do the warm-up exercises, what your tempo runs consist of, how they consist, what the plus and signs mean on those, 200s, walk 100 at the end of the series, and all of the other exercises. This will be able to take care of your actual weight room workouts. This will be able to make sure that you're on line when you get back in here. Guys, let me reinstate one more time to you how important it is. Hopefully by this time you already got about 1 or 2 workouts in after you've been at home, because what we're going to do is we're going to literally take it on the run and take it for granted that you have done what the work that you needed to be done. This was slated and given to you in the books. So when you get here, we can put workouts together. They're going to be able to take the ones that want to be able to escalate themselves on up and be able to get themselves caught up with what the veterans are, which are about 6 weeks, 4 weeks ahead of you at this particular time. So good luck to each and every one of you. If you have any questions, you know our numbers here to call Rocky and I, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Work hard.